It's about to get crazy. It's about to go down. It's about to get crazy. It's gonna be loud. This is our house. We do what we wanna. We'll blow the roof out. Everybody's coming. It's about to get crazy. It's about to go down. It's about to go down.
I'd like to thank Dasani for all of the sponsorship dollars
and the Coca-Cola company.
Mm-hmm. And Coca is that by Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Coca-Cola.
I think there was a
company.
controversy once that they said that this was actually spring water. So there's a time that they used to advertise that Dasani was spring water.
I'll tell you,
it was found out that it's just
well, they
tap
probably
water.
bottled it in the spring.
Yeah, in the
So it's
spring.
spring water.
So they said this is spring water because we're bottling it during the spring. Isn't that what everybody else is doing?
I also want to thank Hyatt for sponsoring us.
Yeah, Hyatt Place on Indianapolis Road. Really appreciate the great service. I mean, we've got some amazing beds.
Yes.
It's really awkward.
Oh, my
and I want to
goodness.
thank them. There's a complimentary $4 water in there that you can drink.
That's
Complimentary $4 water. As soon as you lift it up off the thing, it charges your room.
just like in Vegas, dude. Not kidding you.
I have a funny story about that.
Okay, so I'm thirsty, and the tap water comes out gray. So I'm a little leery to drink the tap water at the Hyatt. But
Gray's usually not a good sign.
no, I showed it to
Generally
Dwayne. I'm like, what is this? But there is 2 bottled waters there. And when you grab the bottled water, there's a little note on it that says, this is for you. It's complimentary. We want to thank you for being here, blah, blah, blah. And then at the bottom in really tiny letters, it says $4. And then it says, unless you're a member of such and such club.
Of course.
The Hyatt World Club. Yeah.
Which
If
I
you're not
thought Jordan was a member of that.
And I'm like,
I actually am a member.
but in big
weirdly.
bold letters, it's complimentary.
It was so bad. It's like, you guys are so pathetic in the fact that, you say this is complimentary. You know exactly what you're doing. That's just blind marketing.
Hey, those darn marketers, man.
No, they're
I
not.
swear to
They're
you.
they're trickery.
Here's the
It's
deal.
a bunch of trickery.
It's hard for me. I'll drink 8 of those. Well, that adds up really quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's $32.
Yeah, that's
I think,
If
right?
you do
Did
the
I do
math.
my
If you
multiplication
do the math.
table?
And did you say 4 times?
and Brinker. I'm the guy that sleeps in the back of his truck in a canvas cutter bedroll, so I don't have to stay at a hotel and pay the money.
I believe you, man.
I have a really hard time. You could call me cheap, or I like the word frugal.
Smart,
Yeah, I have a hard time spending money like
Fiscally
that.
responsible.
fiscally responsible.
That's
I
why
like that.
You know.
Aaron's like, well, I'll pay for it. And I'm like, well, if you'll pay for it, I'll take the room. But
Oh, trust me. Even on this trip, I'm like, oh well, don't worry, I got us a couple rooms or whatever. And his card was on his room because he got here before me, and he made sure as we're at the desk, the first thing that he does is he tells Dalton. What's his name? Dalton. Oh,
Yes,
it's Autumn
Dalton.
Autumn and Dalton are there, and he
Do
says,
you guys
"Oh,
have
Dalton."
first name basis on the front desk?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah. We're really
Dalton.
good friends.
We're tight.
Hyatt is one of the greatest places you can stay, and so.
They
He goes,
sponsored
Dalton,
Brady
I just want to
Bowman.
make sure that my card's being removed and Jordan's is being put on for the room. Is that correct? Okay, great. I'm going to take all the waters. So, gosh. I'm curious, though,
I'm usually
David,
so thirsty by the time I get back that I
Go
just
ahead.
drink all
Go
of
ahead.
them.
I was just curious. You said you had a story about when you
Oh,
lifted
I don't know if
something
I want
up.
to tell.
Okay,
I didn't
if
do
you
it.
don't,
I know,
we don't
I-
have to go there.
I didn't do it. I had a friend come into my room in Las Vegas and lift something.
Was it the condom box?
It was the something.
Because they have those. Those exist in the
In
where did I
Vegas.
stay? In Vegas at the Rio where I stayed.
Okay.
They have snacks and condom boxes.
If you lift it,
Well, it's
But what did he
It's called
lift?
something else, but whatever.
I think we know where you're going.
He lifted because if you lift it in Las Vegas, it's all if you lift it, it charges your they know the weight of the thing.
Yeah,
So,
an instant charge.
took it off and put it on the table. And of course, I'm representing and traveling for a company.
right.
And,
Sitka.
if that ever showed up, it didn't show up my bill because I fixed it because obviously I didn't do it. But if they're reading the receipt and they're like, yeah.
yeah, that'd be a little awkward.
I have bad friends.
You
You guys aren't part of that.
You have great friends.
Thank you.
We don't fit in that circle. That means a lot.
You guys are my good friends.
So, folks, welcome to the Gritty Bowman podcast. We're at the ATA show in Indianapolis at the Hoyt booth.
Day one, son.
Yep, day one, our first interview of the day. I see we got David Brinker here, but I see Adam.
There's Adam
Greentree
and Kimmy
over there, and that haircut on Adam.
Oh, wow.
Like I asked Dwayne last night, is that a mohawk?
Nope.
Or a mullet?
No. What that is, that's called a Viking cut. Have you
You're
seen,
very up to date on
Have you seen the
hairstyles.
History Channel has
What?
the show Vikings? That is straight Ragnar Lothbrok cut. Like that is like where it's basically skull and then it's before
Because
the
Dwayne and I, we
you're
thought,
going back and forth.
well, mullet versus mohawk. Dwayne's like, look, dude, it's a moloch.
A
Moloch? Brilliant.
Love it.
It's
Brilliant. Coin it. Register, trademark that because that's going viral
Brian-
once we get that.
Brian,
figured
I
out.
think you would look good with that haircut.
I think he would crush it.
You know what?
Well, he's already halfway there. If you take off the hat,
Dude, I grow it wicked thick, on the sides and the back.
he does what's called the crescent moon. So it's either the crescent moon or the cul-de-sac.
I wonder, see, the problem is from my ears forward, I don't really grow hair
right.
on the top.
No, and that's why you make up for it down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a transition.
I have to
I
admit,
take this and I put it here.
The
That's
first
all
time
it
I
is.
saw you without a hat on, I didn't know who you were. Because
Most
I've never seen you without a hat on.
Because you
Dude,
thought
I'm bald.
The
You're like
first
Brad
question.
Christian.
Yeah, the first question that you probably asked yourself, you're like, I feel like I should go home and like clean my bathroom or something. I'm looking at Mr. Clean over
Brad
here.
Christian took his hat off one day at our office and came into a meeting, and everybody's like, "Who's that dude over there in the corner?"
Dude.
Same way.
Yeah, and now Brad's got the
Oh, he's got the Spazito.
The Spazito. Oh, yeah, I would coin it the Spazito because the first time I ever saw one of the
That
coolest.
handlebar mustache?
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness, waxed up.
Yeah.
And then he's got this luscious beard.
Yeah.
I mean, David had one for a while, but
I did, but
your
then
wife
as soon as he
wasn't
grew
down
that,
with it.
I felt insignificant in the office.
Yeah,
so
he
I had
took
insecurities
superiority.
about it.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to do the moloch.
You know,
Because I don't think I can compete with Greentree.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
No, and I wouldn't. I mean, that's one of the things. Just let him have his day. Let him own that because he's taking hold of it. So Brian, we're sitting here with David Brinker, and we're here, like you said, at the Archer Trade Show Association here in the corner of Hoyt's booth. Thanks, big, huge thanks to Hoyt for letting us set up shop here. David, what is going on at Sitka? I mean, are we still just making camo? Is it still just kind of the same old,
Got a lot
same
of
old?
Same old boring stuff.
Yeah, we're not launching.
Hey
many
guys,
new
we
things.
make premium gear and it's really nice.
I keep telling Barkle, quit coming out with so much new stuff because then I got to market it.
Does he just love to just? What does he do all day?
He just geeks out on product, man. It's crazy. You just spent a bunch of time with him in Texas.
We were in Texas.
geeking
and
out on products. And
Yes, and I had a blast.
he didn't talk to you
First
about
of all-
product, did he?
Oh, I mean, that's pretty much, I'm pumping him for information.
Oh, yeah.
And Derek as well. Dude, Derek cracks me up. That guy, especially when he goes off on the Southern stuff. And
Oh, yeah.
but have you seen him ride a bull? Have you seen
No.
those videos?
Huh.
Oh,
That's something I did not know about.
Derek
the guy.
is the
Derek
new whitetail
was a
category
bull
marketer.
rider.
I guess I did know that, sort of.
But you don't really know it until you
Right.
look at it on YouTube.
I have a whole nother level of respect for the
When
guy.
you see him ride a bull, it'll blow your mind.
Really?
I don't know. And then I asked him, how well did you do? And I mean, then I watched the video, and I mean, he could have just got lucky on that ride,
Right.
right? I don't really know, but I do know that he got stepped on in the face
Oh,
by a
geez.
bull, and then he was riding.
I was
the
wondering
next
about
weekend.
that.
Face crushed by a bull.
like a 2,000-pound.
Oh my gosh! Anytime I've gone, like when we were at the
Gillies in Las Vegas.
when we were at Gillies in Las Vegas, man. I mean, that's a wild.
That's like a legit ride. That mechanical board there.
It is no joke when you ride that bull. And the guy, the girls get on, and he's just like, gentle, like
Yeah.
they're just rocking, and he's being so kind, and oh yeah, let's do a little twist and turn. Any dude that steps on that bull, all hellfire
Oh,
breaks
yeah.
loose.
I was
It's
gonna
like,
say.
watch out, because guess what? He's gonna snap your neck. That Gillies is a wild place, man.
So
Yeah.
tell me this,
Yeah.
what is at Sitka?
What is Barclay
what is
doing?
What is the exciting stuff
Yeah.
that you're rolling out here at the ATA?
So there's a lot of stuff, but the few things we're focused on that are the most exciting. We have we've been making backpacks obviously since inception, really, of the company. But this year we're taking it to a whole nother level. We have really our first real legitimate heavy load hauling pack, 6,200 cubic inches, called the Mountain Hauler 6,200.
Nice.
It is by far the best pack we've ever made, and we're pretty excited about that. We have a whole new lifestyle line, apparel for wearing basically in the off season, the rest of the year. You know, all of us, we love hunting all year. We don't just like it in the 2 or 3 weeks we get to do it. So we have travel, training, and workwear launching at this show. We're really
excited about that.
Yeah.
I got some of it, and I've been testing it out.
Oh, you got some?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's really cool.
yeah, that's right. You are my bad friend list.
Yeah, I forget I'm not in the circle, apparently.
So that's coming out. We're all really excited about that. And then on the whitetail side, we have a new early season whitetail system launching. But and don't quote me on this, but I think we have something like 40 or 50 new things.
New SKUs that you've added to the line? Wow.
What's cool is this activewear stuff. I mean, it's not just solids or casual wear or whatever. It's technical as well.
It's technical, and we spent a lot of time on it, and it's going to grow significantly over the next few years. It's really exciting, and most of our guys in the booth you'll see wearing it.
Yeah,
and
one of the things that's probably good for you guys doing that is you're actually going to be able to get Brian out of his Lululemons now.
Well, and this little Under Armour now and then.
Yeah.
It's like you go to the gym, and I like to support other hunting companies.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to the CrossFit gym, Under Armour's a nice fit for that. You know,
that's great.
But now I've got some stuff from Sitka line that'll also be good. So
So we're growing like crazy, man. It's fun. It's an exciting time to be at Sitka.
Yeah, Sitka is you guys, and you know what I think is, we joke about it, and we've mentioned a few names, but I think what Brian and I always talk about that I think is very important at companies, it's not just simply about the product, but it's about the people. Because I think the people directly affect the product. We're talking about Barclow, and he's a gear nut. He loves this.
Yeah.
So obviously you get great gear out of somebody like that and his team. But I don't know that anyone that I've met at Sitka has been someone that I didn't like. I like everyone
Besides
at
me,
Sitka,
right?
besides you, because I'm not in the circle, obviously, and you don't send me things. I have no idea what's going on there. But no, I think everyone at Sitka. In fact, we were just over at the booth. I was talking to Michelati and Barclow, and it's just, that's cool when you can have. Here's what's cool, right? When you have a company like that, and you guys are positioned the way you are, it's 10 years. This will be the 11th year of Sitka. Is that correct?
Hold on.
there's the Moloch.
Oh, whoa, dude. Vikings here. Dude, what's up, Greentree? We were just talking. We were trying to decide.
It's good to meet you.
So Adam, we had this battle going on that Brian and Dwayne have, which is what is.
Yes.
Oh, do we have another headset?
No, I don't want to wear yours.
And Brian, what was the term?
Okay, so you got the Mohawk, or is it a mullet?
It's a mohawk.
We've got something else, though. We've got something
There's
else.
a new term that's developed over the last.
Maybe a Moloch.
I don't even know what that is.
We don't either.
We just need you to hashtag it so that it can become popular.
It won't become popular.
The Moloch, dude.
I need to get something off my chest with Brian.
Oh, here we go.
You look and sound like Ice-T, dude.
What? How? Dude,
Has no one ever said that to you before?
Oh my
white.
God!
Wow.
Like,
Has
no.
one ever
Take-
said that to you before?
remove-
Oh, my God.
Remove the color. Okay, remove the color. I'm 100% with Adam on this.
Really?
You got the Ice-T look. Oh yeah, dude. And the demeanor.
Yeah,
And the
totally,
way
dude.
he pronounces or announces things.
Yeah.
Short, powerful statements like Ice-T.
What do you reckon, Kim? She agrees.
Kimmy, are we on? Are you with us?
She agrees.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, by the way, we were talking about this in the hotel. We need to get you and Kimmy on the podcast.
Yes.
That'd be
together.
cool. Yeah.
Yes, we want
Yeah.
Kimmy and you. Yes, Kimmy.
So I've listened to the.
Is it? It's
I've
not
listened to
PG,
the Bow
is it?
Hunters Life podcast, and I mean, you guys together are always great. I'm gonna have to edit a lot, though.
No, we'll behave. I'll behave. That's
She's
him.
she's the red card.
Mike's got Ice-T up there.
Looper's got Ice-T.
Like I said, Loopers.
Dude, every time
On point.
Yeah. Every time I see something from you, I'm like, 99 problems and a bitch ain't one.
Dude, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
This is going to be so much fun.
Yes.
We wanted to have you come on, you and Kimmy. I know we're going to do a live one here with Cameron and you, and we're probably going to talk a lot about Cam's teeth, which is great. I mean,
You have to.
Those pearlies, you just can't, they don't teach that in Sunday school.
I was up all night brushing.
Oh, dude, and
so
you
feel
can
better.
grind those teeth down until you get to the roots, and they still won't touch what he's got.
I got some questions for the two of you. I've got a whole list.
Cool.
Hopefully, I can get to like just a couple.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be softball.
So, Kimmy, you
At
down?
all.
We'll figure out a time. Two of you come on. All right.
Sounds good.
Sweet. Let's do it, man.
I'm
The
gonna
Moloch
get to
looks
it.
good, brother.
Cheers.
Cheers. Good to see you, Adam.
Iced tea. I like that.
I you know what? I can't
I
help
never
but
thought iced tea.
well,
I mean, there's worse people to be compared to.
yeah, as far as doppelgangers
I think.
go.
I
think so.
No, it's interesting. Like I would have thought. I don't know what I would have thought. It's the white iced tea thing that threw me off.
I just think it's funny because, Ice-T kind of has this demeanor about him where he's got kind of this vibrato of like short, powerful statements. I'm a macho dude. And you always think you're a macho dude. And you've always got these short, intellectual statements that you make that, like, oh, Jordan, you're dead weight. Or, you do things that,
He's never gonna
undermines people.
Never going to let me let that.
No, I
let
won't.
that down.
First time we ever met, first thing he says to me, he says, Jordan, you just look like dead weight.
Well,
Wow.
I didn't say it like that. We were talking about a competition, doing the
Train to hunt. Yep.
And I simply said that if we were going to compete as partners, I could use someone that wasn't dead weight.
See how much? See, that's iced
not
tea.
that much different
That's
than what
iced tea.
Jordan
Yeah,
just said.
it's like all you did is you intellectually made it sound better than just
Not
what it
really,
is.
though.
No,
Not
it's just a
really.
more long-winded statement.
I have to say that I was dead wrong. I completely misjudged.
We've
Jordan.
hunted together.
Jordan is not dead weight, and when it comes to cardio, I'm expanding my capabilities. Like they're exponentially improving. But
And Jordan completed the Mountain Ops 5K at Western Hunter Lunch?
Yeah, the Western Hunter.
I mean, I don't know if you knew that, but
I was 18th or 19th at the 5K, the Keep Hammering 5K in Vegas.
I'm going to compete this year there.
Oh yeah,
I was in the
Brinker's-
top 20, so I got a
Brinker's
free
doing
pair.
like
of
half marathons now.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I did one and it about killed me, but whatever.
At least you can.
So that's
16
miles?
13 and a half.
13 and a half miles.
Well, how
It's
was
no
that?
joke.
It was awesome, man.
Did you do that with your wife?
I did.
That's cool.
For me, it was more about having a goal that I could work towards all year, because if I don't have a goal I'm working towards, then I slack.
I've been running 5 or 6 miles every couple days, and I don't really feel it. Like, that's fine. I'm curious what will happen if I go 10, 12.
You would feel it. You don't, when you're in shape like that, you don't really feel it. But if you were to stop and then try to start again,
Oh, yeah.
you'd struggle with a mile.
Yeah, that's why I don't. Right now, I got the umbilical hernia surgery 2 weeks ago, so I've taken a couple weeks off. But I've been running now twice, 5 miles, a couple times.
Yeah.
Even just 2 weeks of kind of laying low because the surgery. Even that, it's like, man, I was really feeling good pre-surgery, and now it's just been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, so I think you let a month go or 2 months go at 43.
I usually let, like, as soon as my November hunting season ends, and then you got the holidays, that November to right now time period, I always lose everything that I gained all fall. And now I just started running again. So
yeah,
a couple miles and I'm fine right now.
It's something that you guys talk about it, but when you even take, Brian talks about this, you take a couple weeks off of the gym, you go back, and you can get it back quicker. You can bounce back quicker because of that muscle memory than you could if you were gone for, a month. But it's always, dude, it's just the consistency.
It doesn't matter,
It's easier
though.
to stay in shape than it is to get
Well,
in
as
shape.
long as you look good in the gym.
That's all that matters. As long as when you're in front of the mirror and you're taking selfies, that's all that matters.
let's be honest.
Do a couple push-ups to really get, the swole
That's all.
on.
I mean, I don't actually work out at the gym.
No,
Well,
you watch others. It's just a workout in your mind to watch these people lift these heavy things.
There were a few years though where I just did CrossFit solely for fitness, pretty much, and then doing some kind of cardio intense activity, like long, slow endurance type.
Yeah.
it took its toll. Like I would get tired in a way that I'm like, man. Now if it was short explosive movements or if it was high intensity for just a short period.
So what do you think was better for you for hunting?
My theory on the whole fitness thing is, like the CrossFit style workouts that I've done, they have greatly improved my connective tissue strength, like my joints, knees, ankles, all that kind of stuff. I'm more concerned with muscle mass and preventing injury.
Yeah.
As I get older than I am in performance, because even when I'd hike with Aaron, he beat me to the top of a mountain by 10 minutes.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Colorado, but it's not like I could hunt all day.
But was that because he has a higher pain tolerance, or he was actually in better shape?
No,
I feel like Aaron's just so tough. Like he's not going to let anybody beat him, even if it killed him.
That's exactly his mindset.
Like he's just so mentally tough.
I think it plays into it.
But I think, dude, Aaron's cardio. I
know he's in amazing shape too.
It's his lungs.
They're like this big.
His capacity for breathing is it's cardio.
Yeah.
His cardio is impressive.
It's incredible.
Flat out.
Yep.
But you could have incredible cardio.
Yeah.
And then throw 40 or 50 pounds on a guy and he's done. Like he cannot, his cardio's in the toilet. Yeah. So there's moving heavy weight and having good cardio. And then there's body weight cardio, right? You have to train for each independently. They don't cross over like people think. Years ago, Cam would be 155 pounds on some marathon run.
Yeah.
And then he'd put his pack on and go hunting, and he'd say that it killed him, crushed him.
Yeah.
When he started putting on, 180 pounds and then going on hunts, he performed much better. So you got to have the muscle. But for me, if you're doing like a CrossFit style thing, you're not as likely to get injured on the mountain to me, or doing anything active as you're getting older. If I fall down, I got muscle that protects me from injury. If I'm carrying a heavy load, that's just pushing me to the limits. I think a lot of guys will come back with jacked up backs or sore knees or something. And so I'm more concerned with
preventing injury.
Yeah.
And preventing injury and being a soldier.
Looking buff.
Yeah, I want to look. I want to look. No, being able to show,
Soldier.
being able to take you to the gun show at any time, whether it's left or right.
Actually,
I have a question. This kind of relates to where you guys are headed. But what kind of exercise, David, do you have to do every day with your hands to do stuff like this? Like, what is it?
Seriously,
there's a lot of strumming.
Yeah. Okay. Do you use the what is the hand weight or the hand flexor?
What are those? I don't even see those anymore.
I've seen him use the shake weight.
A shake weight?
Yeah, do you use the shake weight?
I've seen that.
Guys.
I used to have one of those dealy bobbers. I don't think they even sell those anymore.
Dude, because it's just like he talks about, I'm trying to prevent injury by helping to strengthen these different, connecting points.
Yeah.
Like strumming a guitar, and I know this from being a guitar guy myself. No, and really, I actually do play the guitar.
He does.
Not a joke.
I actually just learned that today. You've never told me that.
I know.
Before.
It's not something I'm out there, and I'm not making music like this, guys. But this song that I just pulled up is actually called "Country Road" from the up and coming new album from yours truly, David Brinker.
Yes,
which is pretty cool. But
David,
let me just say this real quick.
Yeah.
I'm trying to correlate and trying to relate. I'm going to do the best I can. But like running and doing these things you just described, you're more concerned about not having injury, right? A guitarist, the same thing is actually true in guitaring, because when
guitaring,
it's a word. When you're guitaring, or Guitar Hero or whatever you're doing, is you're strumming, and so you're using different muscles and different things to be able to strum, and you get better at picking as you start to practice. But one thing that's interesting is holding those strings, you begin to develop calluses on your fingers, right?
Right.
They become tougher, which is better for when you are playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Right. Where are we headed here?
When you stop playing guitar,
it's a full circle.
Yeah, when you stop playing guitar for even just a little bit, they start going, and your fingers become soft again, and all of a sudden you start trying to hit those strings and hold those notes. And what you find is that it doesn't sound as good. It hurts. You can't play the guitar as long. So I'm just trying to correlate where you were going with your life and what's going on in his life.
Yeah,
right?
you got to keep those finger calluses in place.
Yeah.
huh?
It's actually a true story.
It's a very true story.
I mean, it's not quite as dramatic,
dramatic?
as, like
I
breaking
think
your
I did
knee
it pretty,
hunting.
yeah.
But you know, your fingers hurt a little bit more if you don't play as often.
So David,
So this is the third annual David Brinker podcast at the ATA show. So
Yes.
we're going to have to hear some music as
Yeah.
we do every year.
Yeah.
this is tradition.
Are you singing
But-
this year?
I'd rather just listen to you.
Okay.
Well, and I think because you guys have done songs where both you knew the lyrics,
Yeah.
and maybe you do know the song
Not
that
yet.
he's going
I
to
don't
sing.
know.
yet. No.
But what I wanted to say is the difference this third year is that David is breaking onto the country music scene in
Yep.
full force.
Yep.
And
And in no small way. Like, not like, oh, hey, guys, I was at my house in my garage. I grabbed a recorder. I grabbed my guitar, and I've got this cool
Which
new
has happened
album.
before.
Yeah. I'm releasing my EP, guys. You want to check it out? No. This gentleman that sits before us went and did the entire Tennessee project. He went and worked
Yep.
directly with the Swan Brothers.
Zach Swan from
Zach
the Swan
Swan
Brothers
from the Swan
produced it.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Which we had them at the expo last year, met them, and I think they are one of the coolest guys. Just
Yeah,
down to
they're
earth.
actually here. They sleep late. They're rock stars.
Yeah,
I don't think they get up till like noon.
yeah, no.
I'm like, hey, Zach, you should come by in the morning and check out the Grady Bowman podcast. He's like, dude, what time is it? I'm like, 9. He's like,
That sounds kind of like the sleep alpha over here.
yeah,
When you're a podcast star,
I went to bed early last night. While everyone's partying, I'm in bed at like 10.
I'm so jealous
I'm winding
right now.
down.
yeah.
So jealous.
It's funny, like I told Jordan, my goal at the ATA show is to come hang out at the show and then go back to the hotel at 6 o'clock.
at,
Dude.
at a responsible hour.
By the way, I'm
I-
always envious of you because you have so much willpower. You're like, no, I am not doing
I'm out,
anything.
even
And I'm
like last night.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to. Okay, I'll go. I have no willpower.
I know I feel a little bad, but I just am not into the after hours stuff. It just isn't me. I'd rather go to bed and get up early and exercise or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Tell-
different. But
Tell us about your experience.
Well,
Is that
yeah,
where you're,
because
is that where you're going?
because I'm really curious, dude. Because I remember. So you launched like a campaign.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and all, like what
Yeah.
sort of tell us the whole story.
Sure.
And why you did it the way you did and stuff.
Absolutely. No, I guess I've been writing for about 15 years, songwriting, and when I first started, I set a goal. It's like because I had a couple people tell me that's really nice that you want to write songs, but so does everybody else. And
wanna be an
you'll
astronaut.
probably never. Yeah, right. That's really really nice, little buddy. And I'm like, no, I'm going to record an album someday, like a legitimate album, and I hopefully multiple. So as more and more people told me that wasn't possible, it became more of a goal for me. And I legitimately, over the last 10 years, obviously hunting's a huge passion of mine, and I've worked at Sitka for a long time, but I never go anywhere without my guitar. I'm always writing. I'm always thinking about something, writing it down or whatever. So, but I always said I was going to wait until I felt like I had songs that were worth investing in, because it's not a cheap endeavor. And this year, I finally felt like I was there, and my buddy Zach from the Swan Brothers was nice enough to take me under his wing and kind of help me navigate the Nashville stuff, which is real. Unless you know it and live there,
Yeah.
it's really dangerous because there's a lot of people that'll take
Advantage
Right.
of you.
How did you know? How did he know you played the guitar? Because sometimes
I can't
you keep that
remember.
a secret.
I do keep
like
it a
Easton
secret.
Corbin didn't. Know. How
No.
long were you guys friends?
I knew him for like a year and a half before he even found it, and I didn't even tell him. Somebody else told him.
Let's see, it's been like 4
I
years.
just don't
and
want
I
it to
just
be
told you.
weird, It's just it's so many people. Like these people are getting hit up all the time by so many people, and I just never want it to be like that. I want to have a real friendship, and I don't want it to ever.
Be based on.
Yeah, it's just weird. So I can't remember. Oh, we played the Western Hunter thing last year, the Swan Brothers. I opened for them there at the Mountain Ops event, and we kind of became friends. And I think they came out and listened to Soundcheck and heard a couple of my songs and liked them or whatever. And long story short, I went on a long path of trying to find the right producer, and nothing fit. I hit a lot of bumps, and I called him one day. I called Zach, and I said, hey, man, I can't figure out how to do this. Like, I need help. Do you know anybody that would want to do it? And he's like, yeah, I do. I do.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, really? You would want to do it? And he's like, yeah. So it happened, and went down there, and he put me with some of the top musicians, studio musicians in Nashville, and spent a whole week down there recording. It was the top 5 most amazing experiences of my life.
How? Like in what
Just
way?
like you any art like that you do at your house, you never think like that it could actually. I mean, you think it's kind of cool, but most of it never leaves whether you paint or write a song or whatever. So like to hear your songs like
come alive.
Yeah, like it's almost like they're little infants in your hand when you get there.
Yeah.
And you're kind of halfway insecure about them in the first place. And then these guys, they're amazing. They make them sound like real songs. And no time at all.
I could compare it to, like I've been recording hunts and adventures outdoors for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I haven't produced, movies or films of those hunts.
Yeah.
And I've got all the footage and all the kind of story in my head. And I've been writing out the message and the voiceovers and stuff for the films. But, and I've made some films all by myself, like all on my own, self-taught, just kind of put it together. But now, with the help of Jordan and Casey, I've got some resources that are helping me actually that make films full time, some really talented people. I got Grady Rawls helping with some of it. And now I'm seeing films come alive in a way that I can't do alone.
No.
But together with the parts I provide and what he provides.
Well, there's just
like
specialists.
Like
there's people that are amazing at editing. There's people that are amazing at shooting. There's people that are amazing at writing. Like you can't be great at all those things. And that's how Nashville is. It's like you want this drummer, you want this guitarist, you want this mandolin player, whatever, and then you want this engineer. And then once that's all done, we got to send to that mixer because he is the bomb.
He's the best.
And I'm like, well, why can't you just mix it? To me, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm still learning all these things, but they're like, no, dude, you don't just learn how to mix. It's like a thing people do. And my biggest learning is like, you have to let people, whether it be in our industry, whether we're producing a film or whatever, there's specialists that do things. Barklow's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's things I'll go downstairs some days and I'll be like, Barklow, have you ever thought of this? Then I'm like, God, that was a stupid comment. Of course he's thought of this.
He's thought of everything.
And he does the same thing to me with marketing. He'll be like, hey, I had an idea. And then he'll be like, you've probably already thought of this. I'm like, yeah, we've talked about that for last year.
I know. Like I'm careful about that kind of stuff, but we were at the Texas camp and I brought up a design idea for a garment that you've got right now. And he's like, what? And I told him again, he goes, and it looked like he was stunned. Like he's like, that's actually a really good idea.
By the way, that 99% of the time doesn't happen. So that's amazing. It actually
got
had
him,
an idea.
And he sat there for a while and he was like looking in the sky and he was like, and then for the next 2 days, he was like, that's actually a really good idea. Like it kind of surprised him. So I was like, wow.
As cliche as it sounds, it's a lot like a recipe. A recipe doesn't come together. You don't make a cake or anything simply by just saying, I want a cake and we're just going to throw this together. I mean, each ingredient is important as part of that process to come to the ultimate ending point.
But I think the point of it is like, for anything to come to life to its full potential, you need people like Barklow and Zach Swan and whatever specialty they're in. Mm-hmm. You need pros to help you do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And just like, I mean, I always admire how many podcasts you listen to. Like when every time you say that, I'm like, man, if I was in podcasting, I would have a hard time doing that because they're my competitors and all these things. But I feel like you're doing it because you're learning from all these people and you respect them. And if you can do that, that's cool.
I think it's a medium that I was already interested in long before I did it myself.
Yeah.
Just consuming content through conversation. And so for me, listening to podcasts, I did it for 10 years before I actually started my own.
Yeah.
But you do learn from people and observing people that do something. So I'll listen to how Joe does interviews. Yep. I'll listen to how Steven Ranella does interviews. I'll listen to Randy Newberg. Like I'll listen to different people and then I'll do non-hunting, and I'm very curious how they handle themselves and how they have conversations. And then you have to, at the same time, just be you.
Yeah.
Like I can't be, Steven Ranella. Mm-mm. Like I'm Brian Call.
Yep.
And so I think some people, they try to imitate someone that they respect, that they admire. And by doing so, they're selling themselves short because they have their own skill, their own talent that they should be celebrating,
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I'm curious. So you know, I first met you here at the ATA show a couple
3
years
years ago.
Yeah. And we did this, we did it, play the guitar,
Yeah.
we did stuff. And I was like, and then you shared a song that you had written yourself. And I was really impressed. I was like, wow, I had no idea. And you're like, yeah, I mean, just kind of something I do. And I'm thinking there's a real talent here. And then I've seen you over the years, like play at different places, take your guitar everywhere. And it's obviously a passion.
Yeah.
And, then I saw online, like, hey, I'm raising money for this.
Yeah.
And tell me about how that worked, because it seemed like there were a lot of people in your life
that rallied behind your
rallied
cause.
behind
Dude,
this.
I was so scared to do it. Being totally honest, like I did not expect even a quarter. Like so I did a Kickstarter, and you have to set a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't hit your goal, you don't get anything. And so my wife and I were sitting around, and I had a goal in mind, and she's like, "Why are you going so low?" And I'm like, "Because I don't think anybody's going to do it."
I remember.
Well, I mean, I know my dad and like that stuff,
yeah.
but like I really didn't think that many people would do it. And then my little brother and my wife talked me into raising it, because truly I needed more to get it done.
Right.
I would have been short string myself or whatever. But so I set the goal really high, and man, when I hit the publish button, I was like, oh my gosh.
What's going to happen?
What happens if I don't hit it? Like, it's going to be very embarrassing. This is embarrassing already. Not embarrassing, but like really
it's uncomfortable.
vulnerable.
Well, you don't want to ask for money.
I hate asking
like
for
you're
stuff.
like
But the cool thing is I did a pre-order, so they're actually getting something for it as
Yeah.
opposed to just throwing money into thin air. So like there's a deliverable for everybody that. And
Like I got a campfire
He has a
side. I cannot wait to cash that in.
campfire
Dude.
concert.
We're gonna do s'mores. He's gonna sing Country Road.
nice.
Oh my gosh, this is
And
gonna be awesome.
I had a couple hundred people get behind it, and it was amazing, man. And that's what made it all happen.
I
So,
was sitting there, and I remember the day that you launched it, but even before you launched, you had texted me and you said, "Hey Jordan, I'm gonna do this," and I was so unbelievably just pumped for you. I knew that this was something that you wanted. We've talked about this for years. You've been sharing with me, like this is my dreams. These
well,
are
the first
my
time I ever
ambitions.
met you at Big Sky.
Dude. I mean, from day one. And so when you came out, I could see in you that kind of vulnerability and kind of scared failure, like you legitimately scared, like this is going to fail or this is not going to happen. But dude, I saw over that span of time as the Kickstarter was going where people were coming, that amount just started to get closer to this goal. And the updates that you do, guys, oh my gosh. And you could just see, in you just the unbelievable amounts of gratitude that you had for all these people who are rallying behind you. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm doing this, please pay for me. It's like, no, guys, you are helping to fulfill a dream of mine that I hope through this process, if I'm able to produce this, I can give back to you what I, want, which is lyrical magic of what all of us can relate to, which is a Western hunting and lifestyle.
Well, let's be honest though, David, like this is something I wanted to kind of bring up is if you put that out there and you got no response, what does that say about a person? Or you put it out there and there is a response. What does that say? Because I see Kickstarter campaigns every week, right? And some of them are with people that are really good friends of mine. I'm still not contributing.
Right.
Like so what do you think, because some people will say, yeah, I wish I could just podcast all day, and it's like, well, there was a whole lifetime of relationships I've built throughout my life and different careers and different places that all combine to give me a network and a support group, a broad community of people who want to see me succeed.
Yeah.
So when I go out and I'm like, hey, okay, I need some help.
Yeah.
I have people that will rally behind me and be there. And so
I think it's because, and you tell me if this is the experience you had, I think so many people supported me because they saw me struggle and they saw me work hard and they saw me be passionate about something, like truly passionate. I think where people fail most of the time is they want something, but they forget about all the things that they have to do to get there. Like they forget the work.
Right.
But if you see somebody truly working at something, no matter how good or bad they are at it, you want them to succeed so badly. If they're a friend of yours, if they've been good to you or whatever.
If they're in the circle.
They're in the circle.
Yeah.
And I what I learned through this is, and if there's anybody out there thinking about doing a Kickstarter, there's probably more people that want to see you succeed than you'll give yourself credit for. And if you put yourself out there and just be vulnerable and be truly passionate and real about it, and like tell people you're like super insecure about it, like people want the truth. And so, I mean, and I've been on a few podcasts. I'm not really scared to be vulnerable anymore. I guess I'm getting older.
You're getting older, yeah. You're getting more veteran.
And this year, I've really turned the corner. I just whatever, you know
what? So I'll tell you some behind the scenes. So when we had David on the podcast the first time, I'm like, afterward, I'm like, that was one of the funnest just hangout sessions.
I remember you said that. You were like, Jordan, that was one of the funnest podcasts I've done at the show.
Yeah,
and it was kind of
Snyder
so
actually
random.
sang.
Yeah,
you know,
that was
legendary.
So.
Let's cue that up.
It was fun. But then I heard your song, and later I said, hey, can I get a copy of that? You know, do you have a recording that I can?
And that's when I went in my garage, as referenced earlier.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want to throw it on. And then then I said, I want to put it on the intro of the podcast.
Yeah.
I want people to hear a more polished version because that's super cool. The lyrics are what really resonated. I love your voice. So then you're like, okay. Well, it took forever, like, because David's like, well, let me get this song kind of tightened up, and then you were getting it recorded somewhere else, and then you were, and I've been there before because I remember publishing podcasts or a film. The first film I did with Anthony and his dad, I'm like, oh, is anybody gonna like this at all? You know. And I actually would give the content to my sister and say, publish it, and I'd disappear for 2 days and not leave a comment. Like, I just couldn't handle the. You know, I don't know why, but you put yourself out there, and you start to realize that, first of all, especially if you get good feedback, you're like,
that helps.
You know what? But I saw you go from that, and then I saw you play with Daniel Lee Martin at the Western Hunt Expo at the Full Draw Film Tour. And stuff.
That's right. A couple years.
We were talking. I was like, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go play. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then as I followed along, I saw you just dive in and do more and more, and to the point where, you know, you're in Nashville. And for me, watching from the outside, I just felt like, absolutely, I want to see someone chase their dream and go for it and achieve, despite the odds. And it's an inspiring story. And what's life for if you're not going to go out there and just roll the dice and go for stuff?
Well, my little brother told me one time I had a bad day. Just like any other endeavor with music or any art, like, you'll have really bad days. You'll play a gig where you sounded like crap. You'll feel like you can't write a song anymore, whatever it is. And I called my little brother, who's one of my best friends, and I said, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Like, why am I even doing this? What's the point? He goes, you're doing it to do it. And as long as you always remember that, like, you do it because you love it. Just do it because of that. Everything else doesn't really matter, and it'll lead you where you want to go. And that took a lot of stress off of it for me. Like, I'm literally just doing this because I love to do it. The album was the same way. I just wanted to make it. The day that it got done, I'm like, I did it. I made it. And then people are like, well, what are you going to do with it? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that.
Oh, yeah.
I got to think about that. Crap. I got to do something. Okay. So luckily I'm in marketing. I can figure that out. But I just literally wanted to make it because that's the creativity. It's like bringing something to life that's the funnest part. So
I think the best thing, that was your brother that gave you that piece of advice. Yes. All I can say to that is literally the exact same piece of advice that was given to me about 15 years ago, which is where I'm sitting in this chair today, doing all of this, being a part of this industry, have a company, is because of those same words that said, it was very similar. It was don't chase the almighty dollar. Chase your dreams, chase your passions, do something that you love. And if you truly love it, then everything else will come to you. And I just think that is some great advice. Yeah. Great advice.
I think I've heard, Jordan and I have talked about this in the past. What is your why for what you're doing? What's the why? And that, when you have a strong why, then everything else falls into place.
It takes the pressure off everything else.
It does. Like, if I'm here because for these reasons that aren't really very, very pure, you know, then I'm not gonna succeed in the same way. It's like if I'm here because I want to make a difference, or I like for me, I've always thought of the podcast. You'll hear these radio shows, or especially if it's political, where someone gets on there and they sneak attack them, right? And it's there to like have this battle, who's smarter than the other guy, and all that. But then you'll have these shows where you get together and the host is really there to try to make the guest shine. Like, really serve the guest. Give the guest a chance to tell their story.
And not try to highlight themselves the whole time.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think that is not always that easy, but the more you can make the show celebrate, you know, that person, and the more you're really trying to, you know, make a difference in a broader way, you know, then everything, that pressure's off. Yeah, right? I'm not worried about how it goes. I'm really worried about trying to do my best to make a difference.
It also takes the pressure off. Another thing people put pressure on themselves about, especially in music, is other people's judgments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I struggle with the same thing. I care about what people think about me. But man, if you can't get past that, at least a little bit, you're really everything creatively, you'll be paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just be okay with what you're doing. I know there's people that won't like my music, and I know there's people that will love my music.
Yeah.
And that's true for any musician or any artist.
Your attitude will determine your altitude. Life.
Hey, that's a good song. Let's write that.
I think that's for that's the next basket and weaving EP that's coming up. No, I think this has been fun, David, because if I can just quickly put in my remarks to what Brian's alluded to, which is simply watching your path to where you are now. I mean, you and I have become friends, good friends over the years. As we've come, like we met at Total Archery Challenge when I was starting Mountain Ops, and you know, I had always these aspirations of wanting to work with Sitka because I just loved what you guys were doing. We always use you guys as examples in our marketing company before Mountain Ops. Say this is a company that's, you know, really changing the way that they're telling their brand story in a market that's really traditionally kill it and grill it and very like you know, too raw and real. And becoming friends with you and just speaking to what Brian said, I knew from the moment when you started to tell me about what you were doing, what you wanted to do, I could see in you that, and you and I have always talked about this, but that your core why and why you wanted to do that was, it wasn't just something, you're not looking for the stars, you're not looking to become this famous country star. You're looking to maybe change some people's lives. And that's what I think is so important. When you talk about your why you're doing something, that will always rule out and will always highlight the truth and reality in people. Because it's in time, as time goes on, if you're not doing it for the right reasons, time will expose you. And people and human nature is that we can see, and not everybody's this way, but you know, Brian's a really good judge of character. That's one thing I've learned about Brian. He can see people and he can say, dude, that guy's real legit and sincere and genuine. And he can say, you know, that guy's definitely not doing it for the right reasons. Yeah. Same thing's true about the two of you. Both of you are doing things that you love and are passionate about, but both of you have strong whys. And I think that's always crucial. And so it's really cool to see where you've come, but why you're doing it and the reasons why I think really supersede everything else.
The criticism thing is a big deal, though. Like, it's hard. It's a difficult hurdle to get over at times.
Yeah.
I've thankfully most of my life I've been pretty blessed with, I guess, a good family unit, but also a streak of independence where I'm like, you know what? I don't really care what people think, and I try to cultivate that attitude. Like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what I truly feel is intrinsically good and right. And I don't care.
It gets easier as you get older, too.
It does.
You're way more concerned in your teens and 20s.
But I think it's something you can practice, like Tim Ferriss in the 4-Hour Work Week. He's like, you want to get bolder and more confidence and stuff? You know, you got to learn to not care what people think. You really have to. And I think one of his exercises is you go into a Starbucks in line and you just lay down on the floor. Lay down on the floor, and you have to lay there for like 3 minutes. When people come by and ask you, what are you doing? You're just like, meh,
Just laying here.
Just laying here.
That's
And he's like, you start to realize that people will come out and be like, you can't just lay there, sir, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, but the goal is to lay there, and you're looked at or thought of as ridiculous, but you realize that wasn't so bad.
That's a really good way to look at it.
There's a whole bunch of exercises that he has in the book that you do to help you overcome this concern. That's really, at the end of the day, who really cares? When I published my film about Suzanne, that was like really putting myself
super
out
vulnerable.
there.
Yeah.
And I made that really for my own family. And when I showed it to Jordan and Casey, and I had no intention of making it a public film, I showed it to Jordan and Casey, and I was like, I just want to share this with you guys. And they came back and are like, this has to be shared publicly. And I said, yeah, my mother said similar, and I said, no, not going to happen, and it took a while because you're worried about putting yourself out there at such a level, but the feedback that I received and the emails and all the people that were influenced in a positive way from it.
Those are usually the things that should be shared.
Those are the things that need to be shared.
Right,
Yeah.
Shane Mahoney mentioned
It's impactful.
that. So we have a film that we're debuting. I'm doing sharing my Mountain Goat film with Aaron and I at the Western Hunt Expo. We're going to announce that here pretty soon. And I'm sharing, Jordan shot his first bull elk this year.
Which was awesome.
In Montana.
Yes.
Montana.
I've been
And,
there.
Yeah, it's a great place.
And he like the soft-hearted guy he is, he cries. And
No, I don't.
you cry.
No, I don't. I don't
You
care.
cry.
I don't think I'll
And-
cry.
He was watching football.
Yeah. What kind of trainings do they have to help you stop doing that?
And so Jordan cries. It's just a legit, honest moment for Jordan, right?
Yeah.
And Shane Mahoney was on the podcast, and he's like, people need to see that part of the hunter. They don't see that part. They just see the kill shots and the look at this. And he was saying it's not easy to kill an animal, especially certain people struggle with it more than others. But being vulnerable like that and being real, absolutely, I think, are the things that make the biggest impact.
Usually the most impactful music is no different. I've been sharing my album with some folks just close to me, and the saddest song on the record is everybody's favorite, which is really interesting to me. Yeah. And Zach tells me, he's like, yeah, that's always, people like the downers, man. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, I think it's because people, we all, at the surface level, we're at the show, we're all happy and all these things.
Yeah.
But everybody's got crap.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody has bad stuff they got to deal with. So I think anything vulnerable like that, they're like, man, it just makes people feel less alone. I've been talking a lot about my target panic the last couple of years, and I've been getting messages from people. It's like, man, I thought I was the only one going through this. Like, dude,
you were very vulnerable.
you're not the only one going through this. Trust me. There is 1,000 people right now in this building that are going through
There
the
are
same
more
thing, but
people
they
than you
won't
know.
admit it, and they're just going to struggle the next 5 years missing animals.
Yeah.
And they should it's sort of I don't want to compare it to it, but it's sort of like anything else that you got to first have to admit you have a problem to fix it.
Yes. Yes.
So
I agree.
I don't know. Anyways, I'm trying to get better at the criticism thing. Brian, you're inspiring me. I'm going to go lay on the floor in Starbucks this afternoon.
I was just going to ask you, as an exercise today, would you mind just doing that in the Sickaboo? Just right in the middle of it,
I would
just
get
lay down.
fired if I did that.
Yeah,
So that's
and Michelati would be like, David, what are you doing? Be like,
Just do it in the Hoyt booth.
you know what? I'm just laying here. Okay, I need a minute. Trust me, this is a statement. You're going to appreciate this later.
Yeah.
So can we? Can we hear a song?
Yes.
Can we do that as a closer?
That's what I want to hear.
Okay.
Okay.
And also, where can people pick up this
Yeah,
David
that's-
Brinker album?
Yep.
so the album won't launch till April 15th. It'll be available everywhere on Spotify, iTunes,
He's
everywhere.
just
But
he's being a tease right now.
right now, there's a single out on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. It's called Country Road. I haven't announced. This is another good example of I haven't even announced this to my own social media following yet because I'm having a hard time hitting the publish button because I'm a little nervous.
And I was going
But
to
it
tell.
actually is live. I was probably going to do it this weekend. I'll probably have a beer and just think about it a little bit and then hit. The single's out right now. It'll be out for the next couple months. Super excited. So
I was going to tell everybody too. If you guys are on, there's 2 pages that you guys need to go follow on Instagram. That's going to be David Brinker _ as well as Brinker Music. Those are both pages of David's personal and his music page. But I would highly recommend following his page so that you can get those updates. I have the song. I have it on Spotify. We were listening to it this morning, and my kids, my sons Peyton and Kenton, both now almost know that song by heart, and they love to sing along with it.
The whole thing is so well produced.
Mm-hmm.
You got to check it out. I mean, even if you're a country guy, you're gonna like it. So I would like to see a lot of people listen to Gritty Bowman, go and support David and what you're doing, because it's a dream, and it's not like you're doing some kind of charity here, because it's actually really good.
Yeah. No, it actually
you're delivering.
He's actually legitimately delivering. And what was really fun, and we touched a little bit, was being a part of. I was fortunate with being friends with David that he kind of let me inside on the process as each song was coming together. And so I'd listen to the first version you sent me, and you're like, dude, what do you think of this? And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like, this sounds so much better than the first time I heard it or that you'd sung it. And he's like, well, this is only 25% done. And then all of a sudden you went to that phase, and you talk about it when you bring all those pieces together, and all of a sudden that song just evolved into what is just, it's like I've told you, you're a lyrical wizard, and it's divinely, it sounds so good. So anyways, yeah, I'm pumping it up a lot, but is that thing tuned?
It's as tuned as you can be on a trade show floor.
Yeah, dude.
Is this good?
Yeah.
Do you like this?
Yep.
Everybody, this is David Brinker.
I got nothing against a little moonlight through a windshield, Tennessee summer night. I keep hearing about on the radio, but that ain't the only country road. They keep talking about out where the dirt's red, all foreign to a man from out west. Here's a little secret everyone should know, that ain't the only country road. Won't you see this big sky full of stars on a night like tonight? Get a whiff of sage in bloom, cruising to the tune of Chrysler. Do with a beer between your legs, it's ice cold. Well, that old two-lane you've heard about the most ain't the only country road. Out the front I got a view of the northern lights, out the side I got a moonlit fence line, a bunch of mountains all frosted with snow, right there all framed out my window. Won't you see this big sky full of stars on a night like tonight? Get a whiff of sage in bloom, cruising to the tune of Chrysler. Do with a beer between your legs, it's ice cold. Well, that old two-lane you've heard about the most ain't the only country road. Won't you put your truck in drive out on the Continental Divide and blow some dust on a BLM sign as you're rolling on by? Won't you see this big sky full of stars on a night like tonight? Get a whiff of sage in bloom, cruising to the tune of Chrysler. Do with a beer between your legs, it's ice cold. Well, that old two-lane you've heard about the most ain't the only country road. Country road. Country road.
So you did that all by yourself, dude.
That didn't suck. Oh my gosh, David. Country
Thanks, guys.
Road.
Dude.
That talk about the evolution of an individual, or just from you guys seeing Garth Brooks to
Garth Brooks. Oh yeah, that's right. We did play Garth.
I mean, you guys, and some of your earlier stuff to that song, like that. That's pretty.
It's impressive because you're not just singing a song; you're writing that song.
Yeah,
you're coming up with it,
and that's the cool thing is like you can write whatever you want. I write a lot of bad stuff, and it doesn't matter because you just throw it in the drawer. But that's the exercise.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you had out of podcasts and films, and
when I write for a film, it's like I'll write 6 pages and I'll use like 1.5.
Yeah, you like throw most of it away.
Yeah,
but it's pretty liberating to do that. Yeah, so.
It's a creative process, and I think engaging in creative processes. If you're a super creative person, I heard I was reading some stuff about psychology and personality traits and so on, and they were talking about individuals who really high in creativity. They thrive when they're being creative, and if you aren't able to have a creative outlet, you just don't feel. You just don't feel alive.
I think everybody should.
I agree.
Do something.
At some level.
Yeah.
In some way.
Something.
Just do something creative.
Write it down.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do it and you don't try, well.
And I think everybody has an individual story that people would like, because everybody's different and everybody has a unique story that should be told in some way,
Yeah.
So 100%. And now more than ever, we have mediums that we can do that.
You can start
social media.
You want to start a podcast? You can start a podcast.
I think there's been evidenced with a million new podcasts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I follow Gary Vaynerchuk. You know who that is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I saw an ad popped up the other day. He's like, there's now an app. You can start a podcast. So all you got to do is download this app. You record it in your iPhone and just press publish, and it goes up on iTunes and whatever. I'm like, oh, man, there's going to be another million podcasts.
Yeah. No, but we do live in a world today where there's everyone can get out there and do things that imagine you trying to, anytime you were trying to do something on, like create an album, even 20 years ago. If I was trying to make a film, man, it took resources, money in ways that now I can buy the software and it's pretty user friendly. The cameras, I've learned some basic knowledge. I can hit full auto on a couple of my cameras, and it's like, wow, I look like a pro.
Way beyond basic knowledge.
Yeah.
I've heard you talking about cameras, and it sounds like you're speaking a different language to me.
Well, but still, I think that there's so much out there that is achievable today for people. People get worried. I hear this stuff in the news about like trucks that drive themselves and automation like shutting down jobs. But at the same time, automation opens up new jobs. Like, I can create a film at a level that I could never have created 20 years ago.
The automation of just an interesting fact. We were listening to a podcast, my wife and I, about with automated cars, they're still trying to figure out how. So if you're going down the road, it's like, and it knows you're going to get in a car accident prior to getting in a car accident.
Yeah.
How? Because if two smart cars are coming at each other, and one of them has like a family, and one of them only has two. Like, how do they decide which one gets in the worst car accident? It's like this whole thing. It's a whole thing right now that like it's like a big question of how to program these things, because
it's crazy.
What do you choose, the family or the other one?
Or the other one.
Yeah.
Well,
which is more important?
And by the way, I totally probably butchered that whole analogy.
No. That was so on point.
This was
But I remember
months
watching
ago that I heard this.
the Jetsons.
Yeah,
because that's like my generation. Remember watching the
that
Jetsons?
was like the
Stone Age.
early 90s?
The Stone Age.
I mean, but they pop up with the TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like FaceTime. I remember thinking as a kid,
right.
like, that's ridiculous.
That's
to be
so
able
dumb.
to
That's
talk
never gonna
through
become
a
real.
phone, like that's whatever. And it's like every day now. It's just crazy.
It's almost weird if you don't.
Yeah.
In fact, people don't even want to just call you. They're just like, let's FaceTime. Or I don't want to really talk to you. I just want to text you.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
So-
it's pretty remarkable where technology's at, and what technology has done to allow who people think they're just simple people to become something
put an influence out.
Yeah, and to make a difference and have some
I would
impact on
say, if you go out to iTunes, search Dave Brinker, not David.
That's correct.
Dave Brinker.
Which is what most people call me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brink
Yeah, I
and Doom.
appreciate it, guys.
Okay.
Dude, this has been fun.
Absolutely. Hopefully, if you guys don't go to bed so early tonight,
Hey, we might be
hopefully
able
we can hang out again.
Yeah, well, we might have to put a few like we might have to have him take a few ignites. Make it so that he almost can't go to sleep.
To all the listeners, Gritty and I and Jordan and another one went out to sushi last night, and we sat down and ordered some sushi.
We did.
And I was really excited to watch Jordan eat some sushi. And the
come
next
on.
thing I see is a beautiful steak
Yeah.
come out,
filet mignon,
with
everyone.
rice and noodles and all these things. I'm like, man,
So
this is a sushi place, but it was really good.
But it was really good, and I can only justify my actions because of some bad experiences
Yes.
that I had with sushi. So unfortunately, I someday will get back to the sushi game. I'm pretty weak in it right now. It was unfortunate.
Pretty weak. It was unfortunate.
It's almost non-existent. But that filet mignon tasted great, and I shared.
You did.
You each had some. And
I looked
what?
over and there was a chunk on my plate. I'm like, man, that was so generous
You know
of
what?
Jordan.
It's all about giving
Here's
to
a-
others and helping others to have some real food.
I was a little worried I was hogging the sushi.
Oh my gosh, this is something that I did learn. He's like Matt Davis. I don't know that I want to go hunting with Brian if we have to buy food together because I'm only going to get a quarter of what has been bought for everyone.
I did
because
notice
he's
that.
gonna-
The sushi trays, every
You
time I
take
looked
one
away,
roll?
there was like 5 gone.
Yeah, for every one you take, he's got 5
And
down
he
the
has
hatch.
like 3 in his little soy dish.
Okay,
all
so
at the same time.
I lived in Japan for a couple years. I was a missionary in Japan, and I mean, I love the food, and then it's so easy to eat fast, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for you and Dwayne to like take a few more pieces of sushi off, so I'm not. But you guys were slow. I was like, forget it. I'm hungry.
Oh, I could sit there and eat that all night. But.
So it was awesome.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. It's always
Thanks,
fun.
David. Good luck, folks. Go out there and check out David's music. You like it, download it, and support the guy. It's awesome.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
All right, stay gritty.
Despite our ever-changing, ever-indignant world with its growing ignorance of and indifference to the ways of the wild, I remain a predator, pitying those who revel in artificiality and synthetic success while regarding me and my kind as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood. I stalk a real world of dark wood and tall grass stirred by a restless wind blowing across sunlit water and beneath star-strewn sky. And on those occasions when I choose to kill, to claim some small part of nature's bounty for my own, I do so by choice, quickly, with the learned efficiency of a skilled hunter. Further, in my heart and mind, I know the truth and make no apologies for my actions or my place in time. Others around me may opt to eat only plants, nuts, and fruits. Still others may employ faceless strangers to procure their meats, their leather, their feathers, and all those niceties and necessities of life. Such is their right, of course, and I wish them well. All I ask in return is no one begrudge me, and all of us who may answer the primordial stirrings within our hunter souls, my right to do some of these things myself.
What you just heard is a quote from M.R. James. We truly live in a world that is largely ignorant and indifferent to the ways of the wild. And although some regard us as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood, we have the opportunity to change the way these people view the hunter and the hunt. We can share our experiences and nature's bounty with those who employ these faceless strangers. And by so doing, we make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the wild animals in the wild places we care so deeply about. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting and the outdoors. Our wild animals and our wild places depend on it.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowman.
Gritty Bowman.